This is Carrie Durzick at the Irish Film Festival Boston, and I am here with Brian Fitzpatrick and Ristéard O'Domhnaill. How did I do?
You didn't do too bad, no.
There's a palpable fear that grips my heart before I say any Irish name out loud.
Well, I mean, I could just say Richard O'Donnell, but it's more fun to see Americans tripping over my name in Irish. So
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So for folks who don't know, why don't you give a little description of the film and what it's all about?
Well, Atlantic is story 3 fishing communities, one in Ireland, one in Newfoundland, and one in Norway, and how they're surviving in the face of massive environmental challenges. Challenges from industrial fishing, from overfishing, from the oil industry. You know, these communities of fishermen who are just trying to make a living. And it's how we start off with these 3 fishing communities, thousands of miles apart, you know, different cultures. And through the film, how we bring them together in terms of their shared challenge. And by the end of it, you know, we realise that we're not all that different, you know. We're both fighting for the same thing. People are fighting for their livelihoods. They're fighting for, you know, their families, their environment, in the face of big, powerful interests just sucking up the resources around them. And
your previous documentary, The Pipe, was also about environmental issues and corporations getting in the way. And so obviously this seems like this is something you're passionate about. This is an area that draws your attention the most.
Well, I suppose Atlantic is kind of a follow-on to The Pipe. The Pipe was where Shell Oil tried to bring a gas pipeline, raw gas pipeline, through fishing grounds and farms in County Mayo, where my uncle has a farm. And I followed the journey of local people as they were jailed, beaten, demonised by the media, and how they kind of overcame, despite a lot of infighting and pressure, they kind of overcame these challenges, you know, and really took Shell on at their own game, through the courts, through the media. And what that story did of the small community was it raised a lot of questions about the bigger picture. What's happening across the Atlantic? What's happening to the resources of the Atlantic, the fish, the oil? What decisions are being made far, far away from these communities, without these communities having any say, but yet these decisions are impacting massively on these communities, you know.
Have you been following what's going on at Standing Rock?
I have been, yeah. Actually, we're trying to get the Pipe over there now and show it over in Standing Rock. It's the same story around the world, you know. It's big, powerful interests trying to make a lot of money, and the small man is getting stamped underfoot every time, you know. But the thing is not to lose faith. People can make a difference. People come together and intelligently fight and plan, you know, against these big, powerful interests. They can succeed.
Well, and on that note of people coming together for things that are important, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you guys funded this film. So, Brian, you were saying in the beginning you were putting buckets on the side of the street and doing a little dancing, maybe?
Yeah, like I remember when I first came on board with Richie and the team, like it was literally kind of one man and his dog collection outfit. We organised a few music gigs, I think, around Galway, and literally out with the collection buckets and badgering people for a $5 or a tenner, and it was kind of amazing to see, with a lot of kind of will and I suppose Richie's part, how it kind of mushroomed into kind of what you saw this afternoon. It was a lot of hard work, but yeah, it just kind of, it emphasised, I suppose, to our team kind of, you know, in many ways it's a depressing kind of an era in terms of trying to raise funds, but if you think outside the box and kind of really put a lot of hard work into it, you can get results, but you'll definitely have to put in the hours, you know.
Was this film 100% crowdfunded?
No, what it was now, Richie would give you the more exact amounts, but basically we secured additional funding on the back of a lot of the money that had been raised early on. People were kind of more inclined to chip in terms of the larger bodies once the team had proven that, you know, this was a story that the people in Ireland wanted to see told, and it would clearly had serious backing from among the general public. So then, you know, you had the larger groups came on board then, yeah.
So when you were getting a little bit of momentum and you saw you could move on from buckets on the street, what did those efforts look like? Oh,
pizza while you're
we got some pizza going over here, so I'll keep talking to Brian.
I was in the clear.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
I mean, you know, it's okay. This is casual. When you saw you had a little momentum going and you moved on from buckets on the sidewalk, what did that process look like? What did your campaign look like?
Well, I think it was two separate rounds of crowdfunding that Richie undertook. The first one was to kind of get it off the ground, and the second was to kind of really kind of push it on to the next level. But one of the things that you often go on about with regard to the crowdfunding model is that it gives you a kind of a built-in audience once you have the money raised, because the people who've invested money in it want to see you kind of bring it to fruition, and they're showing up at your screenings. They're kind of they're very active on social media. They're pushing it for you that way. So it was a kind of a real ready-made audience once you had that solid kind of ground base of backing.
Is there pizza in your mouth? Are you chewing? Where are we with you?
I'm clear now.
And you got Brendan Gleeson to narrate. That's pretty fantastic. What was it like working with him?
Yeah, it was mad. It was kind of surreal, really, because Brendan Gleeson had done a film in Newfoundland where he played a Newfoundland fisherman, and he had the accent down to a T. And the Newfoundland accent in the South Shore is kind of a southeast Waterford kind of an accent, and mixed with a bit of Canadian. So when I sent him the rough cut of the DVD, as we were about 3/4 way through, it was something that was close to his heart, Newfoundland. Also, he had a social conscience at home, and he really gave a shit about what was going on at home. So, I mean, I thought it would be a lot more difficult to get him. He just said, I want to do it, And he came on board. He liked the fact that it wasn't a simple story. It wasn't black and white. It wasn't. There was layers and contradictions in the story, and he just loved getting his teeth stuck into it. And we did the voiceover down in Kinvara in a small sound studio. Usually the voiceover might take, let's say, 3 or 4 hours, but we were there till about 1 o'clock in the morning, like trashing it out, rewriting bits. And he was until he was happy with something, we go over and over again. We do a rewrite, we do it again, and and the best part was then we went for a pint, and that was cool. Sitting down, Brendan Gleeson in the corner of a pub, having a pint of Guinness. That was.
We should all be so lucky.
Yeah. And of course, then Brian had a look at it, and Brian says, "No, that's not quite right. We've got to change that. So we had to call up Brendan and go, Brendan, any chance you do another half day in the studio? And fair play to him. Like, Brendan Gleeson, he's a top Hollywood actor. He did it, and he's didn't even charge us for it. Like, he said, which is incredible. Like, a fella like that. And then he came on he helped us with media stuff. It's not if he's not that busy enough. And for example, came on the radio. And at the time, we were having difficulty, getting support, as we always have been from the broadcaster. And we went on this Ray Darcy show, and Brendan started getting stuck into RT, saying, you should be showing, why aren't you supporting it? And, RT then broadcasted, and that got to a much bigger audience as well, So fair play to him. He got out and he fought for it, and we'll be forever in his debt for that. And I mean, of course, what he brought to in terms of his voice and his skill to tie the stories of 3 communities thousands of miles away, back through from the 70s back to the present, through 2 different industries of oil and fishing, to kind of bring all that together. You need somebody with serious credibility and great skill as a voiceover artist to do that. And he was definitely the last most important piece of the jigsaw to tie it all together, so that people could follow this as a story from start to finish, instead of a lot of little chunks just sellotape together.
So this is for the internet, which means, it's for the world. It's for you can curse. I don't know if they might beep out the curses and Brendan Gleeson's address. But it's for Film Ireland podcast, so it will primarily go out to people in Ireland. So is there a way for people back home to see the film right now?
At the moment we're just after. It's just been put up on Amazon. We're doing the DVDs are doing the circuit. Kind of at every screening we do, kind of at home and abroad. We've been broadcast by RTE at this stage, CBC in Canada. So there's plenty of ways to catch it.
So Amazon and the DVDs are available?
There's plenty of ways to get a hold of it. I suppose if you're kind of searching for it, Atlantic the film, Brendan Gleeson, a few combinations like that, Ristéard O'Domhnaill will find it for you. But there's plenty of ways to see it.
For the Americans listening, that's film. Same thing. Just an extra syllable when they say it over there. And so lastly, let's just say, how are you enjoying being in Boston?
Oh, it's class. Yeah, I mean, we were there watching Rocky or Smoke there just now, and it was like the fishing Irish and the fighting Irish, one after another. And it's just like being at home. It's like being in Galway, you know. It's just all kind of Irish people, Irish Americans, and it's just a great buzz. Like, it's very, very cool. And, you know, it's kind of hard. We're only here for a day after Gloucester, but it's, you know, you want a week here.
We'll try to fit in all the drinking we can for you.
Oh, well, now that's the way. This is where the interview ends. This could get dangerous. Yeah.
And you said happy to be back. Have you spent time here before?
Yeah, I used to live here a few moons ago. I edited the Irish Immigrant newspaper here for a few years between about 2010 and 2012. So yeah, it's always great to get back. I've lots of family here, and yeah, it's always great crack here. So yeah, delighted.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
No worries.
Thank you very much, Carl Margaret.